live card tonight, and I'm going to share this over with the page and the channel as always, and we're going to get this bad boy started. This is Pimple from the Battletoads, and this guy is the muscle of the team. Let me see here if I can get this over with the channel and the page real quick, make sure that everything's cool, and there we are. Cool deal. Now, unlike the other two, which are more green in tonality, we are going to go yellow and brown with this one, or more of a flesh tone kind of thing, because that's what's going to make this guy pop, and that is the tone that they went with the original concept. So that's what we're going to go with. Now, I've got an E13 here as my base, so we're going to keep him pretty light to start with. Just going to kind of wash this in real smooth for the base coat, and give that a second to dry and show up nice and neat with as few streaks as possible. And then we're going to be moving into the detailing of this guy, because he's going to be a little more ornate than the other two, because of the fact that he's got a lot more detail in his skin with the lines that I did with the line work, and then he's got a little bit brighter color variation, so we've got to make sure that we detail him out a little bit. So I've got a couple of different browns that I'm going to be using to pull this all together, and we're going to reach a point here to where I can pull this back and even out that coat nice and smooth. But yeah, we're going to make this work, and this dude is going to really pop here in just a moment. Once this base coat is down and that bright yellow is laid, he's going to really jump off and wake this up. So I'm going to work around the edge of his head here, kind of fill this in, but I don't want that to break and fill out, so I'm going to go right here between his eyes just a little bit. So I'm going to go down to his muzzle, and then copy this straight over like that in the same pattern. Hey, Brian. There's Earl and Johnny, too. Cool deal. Hey, guys. Thanks for coming on. Yeah, this happens to be my favorite of the three. And when I played the video game, because he was so big, you could really tear it up, especially in the race speeder zone that everybody calls, you know, that's notorious for of 90s kids. You know, the guys that were playing this as young kids and teenagers when it came out. I tell you what, that scene in that game was just viciously notorious throughout video games for being one of the worst and most fun levels to play in anything, because you had to land it perfect every time or it would eat you alive, and you'd be playing that sucker for 5,000 lives if you had the code to get the continued lives and all that. I mean, Sega Genesis was awesome for that stuff. Yeah, big time. They nailed it. I'm gonna put in a bright yellow here. This is gonna be a softer one to start with. It's an a Y13. I'm going to put this one in to lighten things up here and be the base coat for this. So once we have it down, I'm going to go ahead and start shading things up. I'm going to try not to pick up too much graphite with this one, though, because it's so light, it just picks everything up. But that's okay, because I'm going to shade this out anyway. So if it picks up a little bit here and there, it's not going to make me cry. It's really not. So, okay, cool deal. Now get under this eye here, this other side. There we go, cool. Now, what I'm going to be doing in the rest of this series, after this card, I have some more, I've got 2 or 3 more pieces for the Fantastic Four set, the Galactus Fantastic Four set, and then I've got a couple more pieces for, what is it? The He-Man stuff. Oh, wipe everything out here right after that. And then I'm going to be moving into some more superhero stuff. And I've got the Crow coming up and a couple of other things like that. Evil Ernie's in there, some independent stuff, as well as, you know, the mainstream that I've been doing throughout this entire series. It's going to be cool stuff, man. I'm going real dark on the face here because I'm going to have this hide behind his arm, like right up here. So I'm going to put a little bit darker tones. And then I'm going to go ahead and flesh some of this out. When it dries, it'll be a lot lighter. But I want it to lead into this being some highlighted areas because he's more of a bullfrog than a toad. But there are so many species of toads. It would be hard to say, you know, it's a frog. So we're not going to go there. But getting this knocked out up in here. I want him to look a little darker, a little more grimacing because he's lighter. Like I said, it has more detail and vibrancy to it, where some of the other stuff doesn't. And we're going to be able to knock that out of the park. I'm going to put a little ridge right here under his eye to kind of make that dip a little bit. And then I'm going to leave a little bit of highlight over here on the outside edge in these necklines, just variously. I like to work these in and leave spot highlights, like on ridges of things where it's a high point for those segments, that kind of deal. This is the bottom of his diaphragm, which leads up here into the broader chest, where you'll get the pectoral muscles hiding back here and up over here around this way, so it kind of goes across. We've got that in. Now I'm going to get into this thing here. Hey, Earl. Hey, man, thanks. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for that. Okay, I'm going to go with the other end here because I don't want to use a wedge on this. This is the YR33, the YR23. This is a yellow-red 23. Now, this one's going to be a true shadowing. I've got to be careful with this one because this almost has a brown tone to it. It has a very oxidized egg yolk kind of thing, like a boiled egg kind of egg yolk, and it's very, very dark, so I want to be very cautious with this one because it can take over an image very quickly and make it look burnt out. And I've done that numerous times with these markers because I'm heavy-handed with them. I like using them. I like going to the extreme with them, and sometimes I push them over the edge and they'll burn out colors because they'll dry darker than they're supposed to, or I'll oversaturate and it'll, you know, take out a lot of the brightness in places. I've done that, I admit it, but art is a living, breathing thing that is in motion, so it happens sometimes. But especially with experimental tools like this, so these things can take a mind of their own if you're not careful with them, and they will run off and run amok. And let's see, I have I want to make sure that I get the 15, not the 18. Oops, knocked it off the table anyway. I have an E15 here, which I'm going to go in a little strict with because it has a chocolate brown color to it, and I really want to keep this light. Like I said, just getting the primary shading and making this stuff pop off, and then staying clear of it because I don't want to mess it up too much. And I don't want to put it on, you know, make him look like a bodybuilder where every vein is popping out, you know, kind of thing. I don't want to do that. I'm just giving him edges for dimension, and that's all we're going to do. Because I've seen where everybody wants to draw in, you know, they'll go like David Finch style, where they'll just draw in every little fiber, which that's awesome if you have a background of formal painting like he does, because he's got sculpting and painting and all that good stuff in his arsenal. I do very little painting. I do some painting, but not realism. So I don't, you know, it's more animated or cartoon style. So I don't lean that way. And that's cool, but I just rather go with what I know. make this bad boy pop out. So I had a friend of mine come on and ask me to make him a tattoo, which I refused to do because I have people ask me to do that all the time. And I used to, when I was younger, I used to design tattoos, but I would never lay, I could never bring myself to lay, ink to skin. But I've had a few people ask me for that, and I finally broke down. But yeah, that's going to be interesting. I haven't done it yet, and if I follow through, I'll let you guys know. I told him I have to think about it, but telling him I had to think about it is a lot further along than where he was before, with me saying no flat out. So we'll see what happens. But that's about the third or fourth time, and I've had people take my artwork and use them as tattoos before, and without my permission, just taking it and doing it, and it's just strange to see that happen. But it's a very humbling experience. I've mentioned that a couple of times before, and it's just one of those things that just never gets old and never ceases to amaze what people will do with artwork, per se, as they call it. So, but anyway, I'm not trying to overwork this thing. I'm trying to keep it very simple, very focused, but yet still make the round with it so it makes all the look come together. Cool deal. I like that. So I'm gonna put a little right here on the back side of this eye, down low to match the shadow that goes across, and make that ridge stand up so he actually looks like he's ticked off. Now I'm gonna come in the low side of this hand, put a little detail in there, a little bit of overflow around some of the edges, not too many. Like I said, I'm always afraid of overworking these things. So there we go. Cool deal. Now this is the color of his eye that I'm going to go in with too, by the way, while we're here. Go ahead and knock that out. Done deal. Okay, now I'm going to go in with this 18. Now this is an E18. Okay, I'm going to go in with this one, and this is going to be the underside only. I am not going to mess with this too much. This is just going to be the dark ridges, and that's what we're going to get. I know that looks a little choppy, but I'm still going to only go with these super dark edges because he's very flexed and very rigid. So I want to keep it at that point and not get into that the higher arcs of the muscle. So that's the easiest way to explain it. And there we go. Cool deal. I'm going to put a little right along the edge of that elbow. And right down here, so we have an edge for this gauntlet on his fist. Boom, done. Now, right across here, it's okay to overflow these shadows like this on the underside. If you do some and it goes over, that's cool, let it flow. As long as it doesn't bleed over and leave a big blob somewhere, you're pretty much okay. Copics are a little more forgiving than some of them. I wouldn't do this with an Artist Loft marker because of the fact that it would trash this, because I've already saturated the paper too much with multiple colors. So if you're using Artist Loft, don't ever do this with multi-layer colors, because that's why they're primaries, because they're watercolor based and they will run amok on your paper. No matter what stock you use, I can guarantee you they're going to flood out. So heed that warning with great respect, because they will make you pay for it if you don't. But we're getting this sucker done. It looks really smooth here. So as long as I don't muck it up along the way, we're going to make this happen, and it's going to look really, really good. So I was working on the website today, the infamous website everyone keeps asking me about, because I had to move everything over, and finally got that sucker ready to rock and roll. I'm going to see about finishing it up tonight right after I do this. I have to post my hosting site so that Google will accept my other sites on the server. And then I'm going to move right into it. So Comic Kickstarter should be up by morning with a new episode or two. Brian Salinas was the last one I got to post on that. I missed Marcel's posting. I'm going to post it late and get it up and try to get back on track with the podcast being regular every week. So you guys can count on that coming up this Thursday. So that'll be cool. Then just going to be doing the daily cards till we knock this out. So, and hopefully I'm going to finish up the sketchbook by the 1st of April as planned and get that out for you guys with my new Kickstarter starting in April. I'm going to put a book out. 3 books actually. 3 books actually. Yep. So I'm excited about that. And this is coming along way faster than I thought. That's really cool. Hey Jim, glad you made it, man. I have to grab. No, I'll use. You know what? I'm going to go against what I said here because I'm going to use Artist Loft because it's a little bit darker. I'm probably going to regret it, but I'm going to do it anyway. Here we go. We're going to try this because these are primary watercolors, and like I said, they will make you regret it if you abuse them. So I'm going to see if I can get a couple of darker browns in here, and hopefully I won't streak this up because I don't think that that's quite dark enough where I want it. And me being the crazy yet brave soul that I like being as an artist, I'm going to go ahead and risk it. Okay, cool deal. It looks like it might be working. And all you 80s kids will know this. Hey, Mikey, I think he likes it. That is really cool, man. Okay, now I'm trying not to go over this because I want to leave a break highlight right here on the back side to hold that up. So we're going to see how that goes. And now go right in here on this side and right here in this fold just a little, and right at the peak of that gauntlet right there. Cool deal. All right, now I'm going to go back over here to the other side. I'm going to try and run this through the middle a little bit. There we go. Cool. I'm not even going to touch that because I know I'll wash that thing out and it'll be dark brown over there. It's like, why'd you black out the back side? I could just see it. Cool deal. All right, I'm walking this up here. And the reason I'm going upside down is because of the fact that I want to control this brush tip for the underside of this thing because I want to maintain the light so that when I flip it back over after I do the head spot here, just a little bit right in there, dink, like that. That's a technical term, by the way, dink. Get the underside of the brow right there on the head, the top of that ridge. Get right up underneath his nose here. Try not to screw up the yellow. A little bit at the darkest point of that thumb. Right there. Bring out that light side on either side for the knuckles. Get that shadow dip right there. And we are golden. We are going to leave that alone. Now I'm going to grab a gray here. I have 2 specifics that I'm going to use. I'm going to use a toner 6 as my dark shadow, and I'm going to use a C4 as my lighter, my highlight, so that we can get this gauntlet that he likes to wear out of the way. So this is it. This thing has a flat shine on it, or actually a satin finish, not a gloss shine. It's got a satin finish on it. So we will go C4 for the lighter ridges, and we will go T6, which is a toner gray, which is the closer spectrum to black, rather than gray. The neutrals stay gray. The toners tend to go more closer to black. So we have that going on. Ta-da! Cool. Now I'm going to grab my Artist Loft red brush tip, as with the other two. I'm going to go right around here and make this pop off just a little bit. I'm leading into the color so that I don't, with Artist Loft, you want to start backwards and lead into the color, okay? Instead of starting halfway through and overlapping like you normally would, like starting over here, what you want to do is you want to go backwards, where you start in a negative and go back over the part you've already colored, so that it'll smooth out into it instead of dragging it out this way. Because if you drag it out this way, you're going to get blotches. So always go from the negative out into the color, and you'll have a much cleaner line when it connects. Okay, cool deal. Now I got to turn it around here. I know, spinning toads, right? Boom. Fill that in. Awesome. Now I'm going to go down here, start right here at the ridge. Boom. Fill that out a little bit. I'm going to turn it around this way, and we're going to work right back into it from that outer edge. Right into it. Done. Now, with that said and that done, whoops, knocking stuff off the desk. Now we have all three toads are done, all tonalities. As you can see, the curling of the paper, I've oversaturated it with the color. I have to press it, but I wanted to make sure they were all done so that I could press them even and make sure that they look lined up like they're supposed to, because they line up across the top barely, but because I did the flow like this when I drew them, but you guys can see that they are a set, they do match up, and you have all three of them there. So with that said, that's another one knocked out tonight. I will be back tomorrow for a regular time. I'm going to try and get in the early afternoon. I'm not going to make a promise that I can't keep, so I'm not going to say that I'll be here at 3 to 4, but I'm going to try to be here between 2 p.m. and 5 p.m. Central. I'll post about 30 minutes or so before, so you guys can get that. If not, I'll make it tomorrow night again. Hopefully, I'll be able to get back to my regular daytime, because I'm trying for that so hard now that everything's caught up and I've got publication underway. But until next time, either way, I appreciate you guys hanging out with me. And as always, we only got this rock for a little bit of time. Be sure and make it better for the next generation than we got it today. Talk to you later. Take care.